Friends, I couldn't help myself and had to pick up the new Victoria Beckham Color Wash Blush Water Tint. First of all, the visuals for this product, just stunning. And also, I aspire to have the skin of these models. I mean, really, which helps to portray the product 100%. I wanted to buy all 3 shades. I just wanted to put it out there, but I told myself to wait, just buy one. I settled on coral. Well, settled meaning I chose lovingly the sheer warm coral, and I almost went with, I think it's Flush, the sheer blush red, which is clearly a beautiful shade and would be lovely on my skin tone. But I went with the coral because I thought it appropriate for the season, and I already have a wish list building for Victoria Beckham Beauty. I want to pick up a few more of her liners, and I know there might be a sale event for Black Friday, which feels far away, but before you know it, it will be here. And I'm trying to hold off from any other Victoria Beckham Beauty purchases until I can get some sort of a discount, because this retails for $46. Victoria Beckham Beauty is a luxury beauty brand, and this is, I think, glass. You have the push dropper cap, and just to read a few details on the product: long wear watercolor inspired flush in 3 energizing shades, delivered in a refreshing skin loving formula. This Waterlight tint soaks into skin with a diffused bloom of color that looks like it's naturally rising from within. This might be like a newer age Benetint product that was developed by Benefit, the liquid kind of blush flushed effect, but let's see how this one moves and performs on the skin. I also have the box on standby just for more details here. It has a 6-month suggested shelf life, so not long, and considering that Victoria Beckham Beauty is like a clean type of a beauty brand, typically the liquids and such don't last very long, so just keep track of that shelf life. And it is made in Italy. I was interested in the texture and can't wait to try it. I want to try it on my bare skin. I want to also apply it over foundation with finger application and brush application, and I just hopped on here. This little guy arrived like 20 minutes ago, so we're getting into a fast and dirty first impressions, and I will continue to use the product just so I could gain more insight on it just from using it more. And it says here, color wash can be applied on top of makeup or on clean prepped skin. Apply to the apples of the cheeks and add to the bridge of the nose for a sun-kissed effect, or apply just to the tops of cheeks for a blush that does a little lifting. Layer for added color intensity, blending out between each layer. Color wash may be applied to the lips for a sheer lasting tint. Well, actually, I have the Posh Balm on in Canal. I thought it would be a lovely pairing with coral. So let's take a look at the actual product. So this is the dropper, and we could get a little close up. Well, Alicia, maybe you gotta grab a little more here. That's the consistency. It's watery for sure, and that's the color. And yes, I still have my eye on flushed, but I thought this would be good, you know, the little bit of that, a little bit of that orange, and it does stay where it hits. You know what I mean? So we'll see how this comes off. I have my Bioderma on standby as we will experiment with a few goes, right? Again, bare skin demo first, and then maybe I'll do one side skin and the other side foundation. I haven't decided yet, but while I decide, it's time for you to come in a little closer. I know I said bare skin application, but actually what I have been doing is just relying on concealer for center of the face evening, and also just tackling some heavy duty blemishes that I have, but I'll mostly will keep my cheek area bare, if that makes any sense. So many brushes on standby. I'll take my Koido Bobo Master Yoshiki collab brush, the dyed premium goat hair with Kakeshi Buzomi dye, and yeah, this is what I've been doing. Well, I started yesterday because I wanted to see how the Natasha Denona High Sculpt Liquid Bronzer would perform solo in just softening the look here of blemishes and unevening of tone, and just using concealer for where I needed a little more brightening and coverage under the eyes, just tackling redness around the nose and such. And I love that. Let's get a little more here on this guy. The difference has been working fantastically, and now I also incorporated the peach slices azelaic acid serum that I've been applying every morning under sunscreen, and I think that combination has been doing well, so can't wait to see what the results are end of August. All right. Yes, we have the 4K, so you can see the texture, okay, and the imperfections. Okay, how shall we proceed? Just right there on top. Allow me to interrupt myself briefly that there is a little steel ball at the end of the dropper, and that made it immensely easy to apply it on my lips, although I did need to use my fingertip to tap for blending. But you don't have to do it dropper bleeding style like I did during the cheek demo. You could actually place the roller ball on top of your cheeks in this clown fashion, if you will, or blend with a brush from there. So excuse the complaining, as you will hear, where I'm not a fan of dropping the product directly on my cheeks, but this rolling on the product on the cheek with the little steel roller ball, I'm all for it. Great construction and design for this product. You kind of have to push down, but that is maybe I pushed out too much. It's spreading, oh no. Next time I'll try back of hand first. Oh my, where's the mirror? There's no scent, and the texture, the feel is quite cooling. It almost has like a refreshing feel to the application. Well, that's just lovely. And what did the instructions say? Also, maybe over the nose. Yes, absolutely beautiful. What would I have expected from Victoria Beckham Beauty? Now I am dying to see the other shades in action, but I'm trying to hold back. Please do not enable me in the comments, everybody, because you know I'll rush right over there and check out with the two. Okay, how shall we proceed with the other side? We're keeping it bare skin-ish, of course, with the presence of some concealer, but should we go back of hand first to see how that goes? I'm afraid that back of hand would absorb a little more product, so that's why, you know what? Let's go in as we did on side number 1. And this dropper cap, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I understand how with this liquid, it might be the next best thing. Oh God. Casualties. Well, I'm just gonna pick up what I hope YouTube doesn't flag me. There's an injury now on camera, but now going in with Sonia's mini buffer, I had to switch hands because the left hand was feeling a little awkward. And I also picked up what dropped on my thumb because I don't want to waste anything. And I'm bringing it over the bridge of my nose and tapping it around. Ooh, that's pretty. I can see how flushed might be a little more multi-seasonal because coral on me is pulling a little orange on camera. I think my lights might be pulling the color more orange on the screen, but maybe when I edit it, it would appear more coral. In terms of the formula, well, so this is what you're going to deal with if you choose to blend out with your fingers, but let's see how it removes with some Bioderma. Can we get it off? Well, it might fade eventually, right? I haven't tried it with my Bifesta. I'm now wiping from back of hand to see if we could get that initial swatch off, and also the accident, if you will, getting it off my thumb. Some of it's still going to be left behind, right? I think that's the nature of a tint-like product. If you don't like that at all, then please avoid using to tap with fingers, because this is what you might deal with if you choose that application. If you want to keep it off the skin, then drop her directly on the cheeks and proceed with your favorite brush. Maybe you decide to use a sponge. Although I wouldn't recommend a sponge because it's so liquidy that I feel the sponge will soak it right up and will leave very little behind on the cheeks. So You could experiment if you want, but I just predict that will happen. I don't know for a fact because I haven't done it myself. So if you choose to run that experiment, then let us know down below. But now let's see how this removes from the face, since I now want to proceed with, whatchamacallit, foundation application. Not bad. You can probably see a little bit that was left behind. And what happened also with the Milk Makeup Jelly Tint sticks, they were so kind enough to send me one shade in PR. And when I wiped it off, some of it was still on my skin, but it wasn't terrible. It eventually came off. I don't think that's too bad a removal. For the most part, I think it removed maybe like 90%. Okay, but this is what I want to do. I am dying to one side Prada and the other side Givenchy. Prada Beauty's Reveal Skin Optimizing something foundation. This is in MN60 and still remains one of my most favorite foundation formulas, even for the summer season. Although neutral in undertone, that might not be ideal for like that summer glow golden look. I still think the texture is just phenomenal. Like, I can't get enough. And on the other side, we have Givenchy's Glow Serum Foundation in 4.5N. This is going to have more of a natural skin finish, more luminous as well than the Prada Beauty. But I haven't been wearing this foundation because it does break down faster than Prada's. Since it's been so hot and humid, that's why I haven't been wearing it as often. But I've also shared on previous videos that I don't mind, since I just adore the texture so much. So you could clearly see, if I lean a little this way, the reflectivity is not as dialed up as it is on the Givenchy side. So that is the main difference between the two foundations. But I thought it'll be interesting to see how the water tint interacts with a different base, one that is more soft matte and one that is more natural luminous, more radiant. And since we learned our lesson, I will continue using mini buffer and dropping the water tint directly on my, or I should say, color wash. It's the Color Wash Blush Water Tint, but I just say water tint. I guess I could say color wash. I'm sorry, VBB. I make sure to press the top of the cap while the dropper is in the bottle so I could get enough product there. But I have to be careful. I'm trying to maneuver this where I don't press out so much and that it ends up right. Don't flag me, YouTube. I'm okay. There's no injuries here. I'm going to tappity tap. And I kept it center of the face because this colors is pretty appropriate for right of center of face. And notice I'm just going willy-nilly here and bringing it right under the eyes. Like, why not? And around the nose. And happy to report there is no disturbance of the base. The Prada Beauty still looks smooth underneath, but the color wash did introduce a little bit of that radiant finish. It's not going to be like Charlotte Tilbury's Unreal Blush Stick, right? There's a little bit of luminosity, but it's just because of the more liquid consistency versus there being any pearl, because there's not. What you see is just from the formula itself, it being like a liquid and introducing a little more of that radiant finish to the skin, and naturally will leave behind that highlight effect on the high points of the cheekbones. And now, same thing, other side, but let me prepare myself so I can grab the brush right away. I'm gonna, and now over the Givenchy, which immediately, my goodness, radiance dialed up a little bit more when pouncing on the color wash right over the Glow Serum Foundation. And in the same way, we're taking it over the nose. We're doing it all right? And just like the Prada, despite the Givenchy exhibiting more of like a a zhuzhy finish on the skin, right, the tendency is higher for this formula to break down under more humid conditions or when interacting with a water product, water-like product like the color wash. But I'm pleased to report that there was no separating of the foundation, that it doesn't look uneven, that the color wash just spread out despite how it drops on, right? Because I get it, how some individuals would be wary of a liquid makeup type of a texture, that it runs away from you, is harder to control than like a creamier product. But the way it finds itself on the cheeks, or however you wish to place it on your face, it still behaves. This is a fantastic summer shade, and I could only imagine how beautiful flushed and vintage rose would be. I'm trying everything I can, family, to not buy the other two right now, because I am pleased with this performance. I'm pleased with this demo. I know it's just a first impressions, and I am basking in the throes of VBB beauty, where it just seems that whatever she releases, she might. So I'm not saying that all products are S tier. There are probably some in her line that are like right under or even B tier, dare I say. But I haven't encountered a B tier product yet from VBB. Everything has either been A or God tier. But you can let me know some of your B tiers down below. I'm thrilled with both finishes, how it acts on a soft matte finish and how it also acts on a more natural luminous finish. I have to say, I do like this side better. I do like the Givenchy side better. It seems that the color wash consistency has a better synchronization. It's just better harmony over here texture wise. Where on the soft matte side, it's not that it's uneven. It just looks a little flatter to me. So this side has a little more dimension, a little more of that radiance and glow, which I love for the summertime. I think it just aligns with that sun-kissed look to the skin. It's just a part of that, in my opinion, the character of sun-kissed skin. Naturally, it's going to have more of that luminous radiant effect. But a soft matte effect, I feel, is a little more artificial. Like, I feel that's not how it would naturally appear under summer conditions, right? So that's why it might look a little more artificial, but I understand what the trade-off would be if you don't want your makeup to break down, if you don't want to appear as oily and you don't want to have that radiant finish, then I most certainly understand how you would go soft matte. And even if you are in a profession where you want to look put together, but you need to choose makeup products that will hold up well against sweat and oil, and you know, you need the waterproof stuff, right? And it's not going to have that same finish as something that's more luminous and radiant and natural skin looking just by nature. So those are just some considerations. I am dying to try this with the liquid bronzer, but I'm just going to put it on top to see what happens. Before I take the thumbnail, however, I know so many things are running through my head. I wanted to see how... Not on the nose, Alicia. I got it on the thumb, but let's take it off the nose. Oh my God. Let's just carefully tap over the lip. We got it. We got it everywhere. It's fine. So we will have softly tinted fingertips now on this side. Notice I'm not being careful whatsoever with applying this on my lip, but it feels nice on the lip. There's no shine, right? There's not going to be a gloss effect or even like a balm effect, right? It has just a lip tint look to the application. I think it's pretty consistent from what we've seen on the cheeks. I'm just trying to grab a little more so I could get it here on the corners of my lip. Oh, and we're building it up. We're building up this coral color on the lip. So let me take this thumbnail, maybe apply a little more blush for the extravagance, and I'll be right back. I have my High Sculpt on standby, and yes, I did order Mini Gloom because, man, I'll forgive Natasha if she decides to release a Mini Gloom. It will be interesting to see Natasha's take on like a grungy, mossy palette, although I wish to see Metropolis in some capacity again. Also, a Star palette as a midi. The color tint on the first application looks quite rich, but let's see what happens if I apply Toasted, just for a little more of like that bronzy effect right over. Whoa, that really turned up the heat. Introducing Toasty to the Coral Color Wash. Oh my goodness. Well, you'll be pleased to know, if you decide to combine both products, that it is quite seamless. But recognize that you're gonna have a nice robust serving of bronze here through the cheekbone area if you decide to apply it there. I also decided to carry over the high points of my forehead and maybe here along the jawline. Coral's pretty. It's definitely more springy summer, and I think in my eyes, I'm just speaking for myself, more acceptable for the season. I can see myself gravitate more towards flushed. I think flush would have been maybe more wearable, not as vibrant. But I say that because I'm seeing myself in the viewfinder. I don't know how I would feel if I saw myself in person, if me saw me in person, or if I saw myself in the bathroom mirror or another mirror. For the most part though, let me zoom you out a little bit. For the most part, however, based off the claims that I've read, I think this product is consistent with those claims in terms of what it is said to provide, the performance, the entire experience. All in all, the color wash is a phenomenal product. Again, this is a first impressions. I think a liquid product that behaves well, that even though it might be intimidating when you just see this liquid drip on your cheek, you don't know where it's gonna go, what's gonna happen. Once you start blending, it finds itself where it needs to go. And what's left behind is an impeccable serving of color, despite this being a liquid product with a little bit, just a tiny bit of viscosity. I feel like I can detect it, that it's not like you're applying water on your skin, even though that might be the brand's impression or the impression they want to leave the user with. There's a little bit of like a zhuzh in there that I feel makes it quite smooth and easy to maneuver around the skin, and I think would pair great with other tools. I insist on using Sonia's mini buffer because I think this is an ideal tool to use with cream liquid products, especially in the cheek category. But all in all, if you were eyeing this and you weren't sure because maybe the color delivery would be weak, maybe it would be hard to apply and blend, yes, maybe the press dropper needs some getting used to, but overall, S tier, I think, for the water tint. And I just am speaking for the coral shade. Okay, this is coral on a medium tan skin shade. I guess I'm still a little more medium because I've been wearing my sunscreen and my sun hat. The rest of the body though, definitely more medium tan. And eyeing flushed, we'll see. Maybe flushed will be intense because this is, I know I added the High Sculpt liquid bronzer, but my goodness, even the effect it has on the lip, I have a feeling that coral is gonna grow on me, but oh my goodness, I definitely cannot wait to try flushed and vintage rose. Let me know if you've already ordered all three, what you think about the shades, and also what you think about the formula, the texture, the application. I would love to know down below. And if you made it this far, make sure you like this video. It certainly helps when you click that thumbs up, as it lets YouTube know that you like watching me, and would also recommend my videos to other beauty enthusiasts such as yourself. And make sure you consider subscribing, because I did mention that I have more VBB on the wish list, and if you want to see those products in action, well, you'll know when that video drops, especially when you click that notification bell. And if you're watching for the first time, thank you for visiting my channel. Please stay, peruse some more. Maybe I'll see you in this video here. I'll definitely see you down in the comments for this video, and on here again next time.